how old is Lincoln now? 11? 12. What is it? 12-year-old getting a perm?
Because he was going to go get this haircut that's called a textured fringe. So it's like a low taper up to like a heavy top. I don't know. And so it's texturized, but his hair is very thick, but he does not have any of his baby curls left. So he's getting a perm first so that then when she trims it, it'll still look nice and, fluffy.
Wow.
It's not quite as bad as like the llama haircut that was really popular last summer.
Yeah, I'm glad
But
that one's gone.
yeah, me too. But
I don't know.
listen,
I
we're
like it,
getting rid of
Kurt.
the mullet. And we've had the mullet for like what, 5 years?
Yeah.
So it's a celebratory day for me.
There you go. Well, I like the haircut, Kurt. I think it's
Yeah, I
a
like
little
Kurt's
more.
hair.
It's a little like grown up, so it's good.
You look like a Grecian,
I think it makes
I'm
me
getting
look.
thinned out.
I think it makes me look younger. Are you really?
Yeah, man. I'm getting like that dad kind of.
Oh, is
the
it,
receding
down
right
in
is
here.
it going back?
It's getting real. I also wear a hat probably
wear a hat all the time.
24/7.
So do I. I mean, I bet if I cut mine shorter,
Doesn't
Brad,
help.
mine is doing the same thing.
It's normal, but I
But-
mean, look at Dad. He still has a full head of hair.
Yeah, but Dad's does that too. Dad's is going back there.
Yeah,
But
he has
it's so
He
thick.
definitely
that you
has
can't
like the
tell.
V back, sure.
He's
Yeah.
not even like gray though.
Yeah,
No,
no.
Jeremy is grayer than Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, Dad's like so not gray
There he
at
is.
all. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
No, we got a lot to look forward to.
That's it.
Kelly and I are
Okay.
gray.
All right. Well,
Little gray.
Little gray.
It looks like we have a couple new backgrounds this week. Kelly, where are you at?
I'm in Miami.
Kelly's in Miami following her
Why are we talking?
fave, Cody Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly seems to just be following her around the country. She is a fangirl, I think.
Who is
Come on,
Cody
no, I'm not
Sanchez?
that much.
I mean, you are. You're a fan. You're a fangirl following Cody around. And in Cody fashion, you're doing this podcast in the morning.
Before. Yeah.
Before you're going to go hang out with Cody for the day. That's
Who is
very Cody-like.
Sanchez for the layman?
You do
Kurt,
know.
I love
We're
you.
just asking so that we explain to the audience.
Yes. Well, I'm asking for myself and the audience. Yes.
So it's
Okay.
the
Go ahead, Kelly. Explain away.
Cody runs an organization called Contrarian Thinking, which just focuses a lot on small businesses, buying, selling, teaching business owners how to be actual small business owners. I don't have my hat in front of me, like, Main Street over Wall Street. And so I am in a group, like a mastermind of owners who have already acquired. And then we work through some kind of like almost like a board of directors of people. So I've gotten to know some really great business owners from all over the country, and I will see many of them here this weekend.
That's
Good
great.
one.
Are you on a
Mhm.
first
Shout out
name
Cody
basis with her yet?
Sanchez.
No.
That's her
Soon.
dream.
No, we're not.
Soon. She's
She
gonna
doesn't
get
know
invited.
who I really am.
She's gonna get
Doesn't
invited
know
up
you
on
yet.
stage. It'll be good.
I'm not that cool, so
Soon to
Can
be.
you get her number in your phone? I'm going to need a screenshot of that.
okay. Yeah, I'm not
In the
Well,
group
she's
chat.
about to get a shout out. She's about to get a shout out on the podcast. So.
Well, she already
Okay.
has, Kurt. If you've been paying attention to previous podcasts,
Streams are coming through this morning.
it's not. This isn't the first time we've talked about Cody, but I'm surprised this is the first time you've heard her name.
Yeah. That's her name. I believe he has mentioned her in almost, if not every.
Not everyone.
Welcome,
Come on.
welcome.
You know. So welcome to the pod, Kurt.
Yeah.
Cody's been with us here.
We're happy to
for a
have
long
you.
time.
I finally checked in this week, made some notes.
Oh, okay.
Topic was more my speed.
Kurt's going to be all over this pod today.
Yeah.
He's
No, I
he's
hope
locked
so.
in, so he's really ready for this.
Yeah.
None of
Well,
these
let's
topics are my speed, so.
Yeah, they're just the speed of
I tried, but I
the
was
world
so
right
bored. I
now.
just
So, as we've had in our last pod, when we talked about the big beautiful bill, Tara's like, don't know. We're going to talk about Midnight Thunder or Midnight Hammer. So Tara, I know you may not have an interest in this, but the rest of the world is kind of paying attention here.
yeah,
Maybe the
I'm sure they are.
biggest, probably the biggest news headline of the last week. And so let's jump into it. We've got a couple things to discuss, and we definitely want enough time for conspiracy corner with Kurt here in our second topic. So, as everyone has certainly seen with all the headlines, social media, the United States has attacked Iran nuclear facilities. So here's my little intro into it. In the dead of night, a B 2 Spirit bomber, the crown jewel of America's stealth arsenal, pierced the skies over Iran in a precise, deliberate strike. The target, high value military infrastructure linked to nuclear capabilities and escalating regional tensions. But this wasn't just an operation, it was a message to Iran, to its allies, and to the world. Was this a bunker bust, or did Commander in Chief Trump carry out a historical success? If you didn't catch the bunker bust, it's because the bombs that were dropped were called bunker busters, or bunker bombs. They were ground penetrating bombs first ever used. So let's dive into it. Kelly, what do you think?
Starting with me.
Tara, you just said you don't know a thing about it. Let's start
So I
first,
do
Kel,
know
with
about this. I do
Kel.
know
What do
about
you what
this.
do you think in general, but
Don't start with
also
me either.
just on this? That was this going to be a success? Do you think to the Trump administration right now? It seems kind of uncertain because intel coming in is inconclusive. We're getting day by day or hour by hour more information. So talk to us. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to follow the various things. So I think that this is at first blush when I heard about it. I actually heard about it from Kendall, who called me. I think Saturday night we were coming back from a birthday party, and it was like very surprised. Nobody knew anything about it, and it wasn't uh, in a good way. I guess it wasn't like publicized to the world, and I think that was kind of the point, right? Is that we didn't want to let Iran know we were coming. Now, as this like fallout comes out afterwards with all these various sort of what seems kind of like leaky intel or like people rushing to throw judgment, I'm super confused. So,
Right.
I mean, I think everybody can agree that Iran is not just like a little problem, a big problem. So I'm sort of confused when it goes back to what I keep saying is like everybody's so concerned with the hate Trump narrative that they're like skewing the fact that this is probably a very successful thing and likely, at least given the fallout immediately, putting them back on their heels to the point where they're like, okay, yeah, arms down. And because we're not going to end up in a war. This isn't going to create World War III. I know, like, it's like people like want it almost. It's like they're like gunning for it. And I was like confused why that's happening, other than it goes back to, I think they just dislike Trump so badly that they quite literally have lost the thread for what might have actually happened. So what appears to have happened is a good thing. I mean, kudos to our military, the stuff coming out about our military. I mean, again, these guys are badass. Like, what the heck? I mean, 37 hours,
Yeah.
over there, dead of night, like you said, bunker busters. I mean, just, and the precision and all of that. I mean, it's an awe of our military, and I'm super proud of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
that's kind of my initial take on it. I know it's kind of new and there's a lot of stuff
yeah. Well,
happening
I
on
think
it.
what was interesting to me on the Iran, like we've been talking, political candidates have been talking about what they would do with Iran for a while. And so if you go back to 2008, you had Hillary Clinton, I think on multiple occasions, talking about how she would take strong action against Iran. I think in an ABC interview, she said that we would be able to totally obliterate them. And then again in 2015, she says, as president, I will take whatever actions are necessary to protect the United States and our allies. I will not hesitate to take military action if Iran attempts to obtain a nuclear weapon. That is exactly what we're at now. My understanding was that Iran was weeks or months away from having enough enrichment of the uranium to have nuclear weapons. And the months and weeks, it's been reported many different ways. But I think the point is they were close enough. And with the conflict going on, it seemed like an opportune moment for the United States to take action. And they did it, what appears to be very well. Kurt, what do you think?
I think if anything, it was more of a show of our military might. But I do take issue with us getting involved at all anymore in the Middle East, especially what seems to be under the direction of a foreign government. So I think that's where I'm conflicted because we had our own government saying weeks ago, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said that Iran was nowhere near close to having a nuclear program. And then a few weeks later, at the direction of what seems to be Israel, we're going in there and we're bombing Iran. So I take big issue with it. To me, it just seems like a continuation of the 20 years war. It goes back to the Bush era, talking on the axis of evil and their plan to take down pretty much every state in the Middle East, which started with Afghanistan, then Iraq, then Afghanistan, then Libya, then Syria, and now here we are finishing it off with Iran. So I take issue with that. I thought we were getting away from these wasteful wars that have nothing to do with us. I know that we play a role in the geopolitical spectrum, but I don't like us being the world police. I don't like us continuing to stick our foot in all these regime changes, especially in the Middle East, because at the end of the day, who does it serve? It really just serves big corporations. It serves the military industrial complex. It doesn't really serve the U.S. citizen at all. And I thought that's what this Trump term was, pushing against. I thought we were not going to have any more foreign wars. We're not going to have any more foreign intervention. But yeah, I think time will tell what we just did and what we stirred up. I mean, it's funny to me. I think this is such a boomer notion that we should be in the Middle East, that we have to fight these forever wars in the Middle East, and that we have to defend Israel at all costs. I hate that notion. I think it's complete bullshit. I think it's all contrived from, again, the Bush generation and prior, Bush Senior even. And it's just a continuation of bad geopolitics. And then people are like, well, they're chanting death to America. And I'm like, are we that fragile as a country that we can't stand people chanting death to America? And then like, why are they chanting death to America? Well, probably because we come in and we obliterate 1 million Iraqis, civilians, and no wonder why they hate us. And it's just like, I think it's just a bad look overall. Do I want Iran to have nuclear weapons? No, but I also don't want Israel to have nuclear weapons, and they've got a rather dubious nuclear program going on. So it's, I'm conflicted. I'm not on anybody's team except America's, and I think that this opens up the door for this older boomer generation to push us into another endless war.
Do you think we're pushing for regime change, though, or that the idea here was just, kind of get these bunkers? I think that part's unclear to me. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I just don't know that I'm hearing them saying that we're going to, I definitely don't think we're putting boots on the ground or looking for regime change.
I would hope not, but that's why I say let's see what happens, because that is the next step. We'll send a couple teams in there. I mean, there is detailed records of us already pushing regime change in Iran back in the 70s and 80s. So the CIA has already meddled for years in that part of the country with regime change. So um, I think that is what is coming next, will be a regime change, and it just kind of um, got presented to us in this national threat. Like, we have to take out them because of the nuclear threat, and I just feel like that's fallen on deaf ears for the Candace Owens always says, for the 9/11 generation. Like, we've seen this argument for 20 plus years now, that all these countries pose such a threat to America, and that they're producing nuclear weapons, and we have to destroy them, we have to take them out. And I just don't see the evidence of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's good points. I mean, that it is interesting to see in time, like, will MAGA, well, I think you already saw it with Candace Owens, was kind of maybe the major outspoken one on this.
Tucker.
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 That's right.
that
Tucker was,
interview.
making some headlines. And so I do think there's a potential fracture within the MAGA group. And,
But I mean,
regime
also,
changes.
do you want everybody to just like blindly follow a leader, or are they not allowed to have a differing of opinion?
Well, no, I think to Kurt's point, I mean, I think it just shows you there is diversity in thought within MAGA, and this may
Right.
be. I think up until this point, though, you have had kind of blind allegiance to Trump
Mhm.
and saying, like, his decisions, trust in Trump, and so I think that's been a lot of it until this point, where people are saying, well, he was wrong on this one, and so what comes next? Um, and you've even heard some politicians recently, this week, saying, like, this isn't the end of the Iran nuclear capabilities, right? Like, we got 3 facilities. They could have hid more. They have the know-withal and the capability to produce more, and so this is not a one and done. There's going to be more efforts and more capabilities that are going to be had. And the U.S. seemingly has the most. Well, we know we have the most military might, but now, as this operation unfolded, we have the strategic weaponry and aircraft to carry out these kind of missions. I think they sent a total of 125 total aircraft for this mission, and a lot of diversion was going on. I think 7 of the B-2 bombers were used, but only 2 of them were used to actually drop the bombs. So kind of an interesting mission in itself. But Kurt, point heard. I'm watching it closely as well from that dynamic of how does this help or hurt the MAGA movement.
Mhm.
Tara, you don't have much interest in this, so, like, what was interesting to you about this mission?
I actually have interest in this. It's our topic number 2 that I have that I don't really understand. But I've been following this, of course. And so Claude and I even discussed this before the attack, when Netanyahu um, basically was pleading for Trump to take a stand and support him. I don't think that I was surprised at all that he did, in fact, go in. So, I mean, not surprised. I think the Christian community will always stand by Israel. So there are a lot of people applauding this attack. Of course, there's a lot of people um, not feeling so favorable about it. I think most interestingly is how separated social media is over the outcome. It has, like, I thought that the hatred for Trump couldn't get worse, but it has just exposed it even further, and how misguided that hatred is. Like, I don't know if you saw what Whoopi Goldberg said on The View, talking about, if you are black in the United States, like, it's the same as being did she say a Muslim woman? I don't remember her verbiage, but it's just so delusional to think that is the case. And And then now they're saying we're not going to celebrate the 4th of July. If you hang the flag, you are, obviously taking a stance against the entire rest of the country because you are MAGA for flying our flag. Like, it's just wild. It's become more of a hatred for America at this point. And so that to me is the most shocking, where it's like we're not even allowed to be proud of our country anymore because we happen to support the president. I mean, I've supported, maybe didn't vote for, but I think we're supposed to support and stand behind every president, whether you agree with their politics or not. So that's been just what you've seen unfold online. And with Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlson, I think that interview happened before
It
before
happened
the
right
attack,
before.
did it not? Tucker
Yeah.
Carlson and
Mhm.
Ted
But it,
Cruz.
what,
but
yeah.
it kind of exposed what was already in the works by the time that interview
Right, that's what I'm
happened.
saying. I wasn't surprised that that attack happened. I think it was building at that point, but it has shown the separation within the party, and I think the left is like so surprised by that. Well, I mean, are you surprised that people are able to have their own thoughts? Just because we fall under one party doesn't mean that we agree on every point. And I think that's the point that a lot of people made when they voted for Trump, is that maybe they don't agree with him as a person, but they are picking him for his policy. I never vote on a personality. I mean, how ill-informed are you that you're just going to pick a guy because you like him? You think he's cool? Like, I mean, remember whenever Clinton, everybody was like so in love with Clinton. He was so dreamy and handsome. Like, that's never why you would vote for a candidate. That's not why people voted for Donald Trump, because they agree with him entirely and how he's lived his life and how he's made his money and how he's had 3 wives. We obviously don't support everything that Donald Trump has done. So I think that, that's normal, and it's crazy that the left is just realizing this, that there might be diversity in opinion within one party.
Yeah. Well, I mean, time will tell on this one. Cal, I'll give you last words on the topic, and then let's move on.
Well, I think, to Tara's point, I think that I do not claim to be an expert on Middle East geopolitical involvement. I think that many of us have a lot of war fatigue in our age and generation, of that, we have had these endless wars. I do not want the United States to be in any war. By the same token, I'm proud of our military. I think that, they took out and enacted on something that was directed by the president. I don't hate it. I don't know that I know all of the details about it, but I don't always know all the details about lots of things that we do. And, militarily, because that's not the involvement that I have in this world. So I am going to trust that it was done in good faith. And I sincerely hope and pray that this, sort of put to bed the problem and is not something where we're going to end up in, a war and putting our troops in harm's way. And it's, I say it's very personal to me when I think about going and putting, young, particularly our young men in war. My son is of that age. Tara's kids will be of that age. Like, I do not want our sons fighting in these endless wars. And I sincerely hope that this stops a threat and, makes the world safer.
And that to me is the biggest point when you see all of these politicians up on the Hill, especially like Lindsey Graham, who that man has never met a war he didn't like, right? Lindsey Graham doesn't have any children. Lindsey Graham doesn't even have a wife. And we have these war hawks, pushing these endless wars when they have no stake in the game. All they're going to go do, they're going to go buy a bunch of stock in whatever newest technology is coming out and then push this endless war. It's like, that is what our generation is so sick and tired of. And I do think that, like I said, I question the motives this time around. And I feel like Trump almost did too, because after it happened, he comes out and gives that press release where he drops the F-bomb talking about Israel and Iran.
Greatest line of all time.
It was great, but I think to me that was his frustration and almost being like, did I get duped to come in here and use our military might on the behest of another government. Did I get duped to do this? And I think that it was like a very real moment. And so I'm hoping that he has the temperance moving forward to shut down these war hawks on the Hill, and maybe analyze the intelligence data a little bit better, because the difference too in Iran versus Afghanistan or something, like Iran's a real country, and it's one of the most Western countries in that part of the world too, outside of Israel. And this is not like in Afghanistan, where you're fighting all these little factions. I mean, they do have a rather large military, and the last thing I think we need to see is boots on the ground over there fighting. And also, just because all that fight would do, it would bring more tarnishment, I think, to our name as a global empire in general. We would just create more hate by doing that. And I don't know the politics over there. I don't know. I know just what I read, but none of us really know the politics out there. I know the Ayatollah aren't anybody that we would want to govern us, but I think that's up to the Iranian people to see who they want to govern themselves, and it's not for us to go in there and operate some covert regime change like we have with every other Middle Eastern country in the past 20 years.
Yeah. Well, it will be, we'll be watching. I hope. It seems the Iranian people are looking for regime change themselves. And I hope they get what they want and be able to restore, I think, back to the good old days as they may view it. But certainly Trump will go down for two things in this presidency. One, fist in the air and blood on his face. And the other one is they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So those two will certainly go down in the books. So
now I'm going to have to put an explicit rating on the pod.
Oh, God.
I mean, when the president
It was the greatest, though. It was so great.
You kind of just have to put it out there.
Yeah.
And you could sense the frustration in it.
Yeah.
Through that.
That's what was the best part about it. It was like, he just
He's
went
human.
Well, he just did something, carried it out in his view probably perfectly, and then somebody's going to try to mess it up, and he's not happy about it. So
Yeah.
Right.
I get it. Everyone's been there for their own much smaller issues. So moving on, Kurt's been dying for another conspiracy, and we talked about it on the last pod, but we're trying to restrain him from getting too much into the details. So
this is going to be like a wind up right here. Whatever's going to happen right now.
This one is about Palantir, the Palantir conspiracy. I didn't know there was a conspiracy until Kurt mentioned one, so I had to do some research myself. But is a company born in Silicon Valley, seeded by the CIA, and now, as critics say, woven into the very architecture of America's surveillance state. Since Donald Trump's return to the White House, Palantir has landed billions in new federal contracts, installed alumni across key agencies, and expanded its footprint into immigration, defense, and domestic policing. But is this innovation or quiet infiltration? And if you've been listening to us for a little while, you know that this family loves a good conspiracy. And we have Quirt, our conspiracy expert, to kick us off on Palantir. Go ahead, bud.
So this goes back to this theory that I have. And this theory is that no matter how well-intentioned an idea or an institution is or begins, it will inevitably always become corrupt. And that is because of man, right? That is because of human error, original sin, if you will. My concerns with this Palantir, which was a military AI technology, we've used it in all the most of the 20 years wars, right, to identify targets and eliminate targets. But it's also a threat assessment. It's been used to assess threats, potential threats. It's to assess, to recognize patterns, and then to assess those patterns and to deem them dangerous or not. So it's almost like, you know, the movie Minority Report.
The
It's like
cogs.
it's like Minority Report come to life, right? The what were they called, Brett?
I think they were called cogs.
The
They were the
cog.
girls like laying in a big bath of water hooked up to stuff, and they would
Oh,
it was
yeah.
pre-crime, right? They were able to
Pre-crime.
see
Pre-crime.
pre-crime. They were able to see your future crime, and then they would catch that person before they committed the crime.
I'm going to
Based
have to
on
rewatch that movie. That was a good
yeah,
movie.
I don't
go
know if I've
rewatch
ever
it.
seen that movie.
Based on your past behaviors and patterns, and then the name itself is just a little bit eerie. Like if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, Palantir, those were the stones that the elves made, that you could see any part of the realm through these stones, and you could see the past and the present, and I think the future too. But the stones were known to corrupt the people who were using them. So like Sauron was corrupted by the stone, like the all-seeing eye, if you will. Tug, shut up. So my like hesitation on it is this: it just seems, the fact that the government is now landing Palantir across, they're consolidating all these government agencies, all this data collection with Palantir. So now it's going to be in the DHS, Health and Human Services, the IRS, the Social Security, the FDA, the NIH. I have a just a small excerpt from Economic Times. It says, "What is Palantir building for the U.S. government?" Palantir isn't just improving old databases, it's building what some experts are calling the most expansive civilian surveillance infrastructure in U.S. history. Instead of scattered files and spreadsheets, the platform will use real time data integration and artificial intelligence to profile behavior, detect fraud, and identify individual or patterns deemed risky by the system. And that's what gets me: deemed risky by the system. So, who is setting these standards? What type of public oversight are we going to have over this technology? And then I think the most threatening thing to me is, like, it's a technology, it's a private sector technology. So where is all this data going? Right? Who is in control of all this data across all of these government agencies now? And what is it going to be used for? I mean, it's 1984 on steroids. It's every sci-fi writer's wet dream. This type of technology and the integration of it. And then I can get into, there's other things that are concerning, just the owners in general, and we can touch on that in a bit after you guys have your turn. But the owners are somewhat sketchy. At least one of them, that Alex Karp, was on record saying that he wishes he could uh, uh, lace fentanyl and urine balloons to a drone and drop it on reporters. He got caught on an interview saying this couple weeks ago, which is just a really weird thing to say. And then the other thing that kind of made my antennas stand up was in the big beautiful bill, on page 278 and 279 of the big beautiful bill. There was a clause in there that stripped the states. Is that you, Kelly?
Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. I don't know
Ding.
why.
Cody's calling.
Uh-oh.
Stop it. Hello.
Service.
All right, go ahead, Kurt.
Okay, so on page 278 and 279 of the big beautiful bill, there was a clause that strips states' rights to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. That's such a weird thing to put in a bill to me. I don't know why that is being put into a bill. Why are states not allowed to regulate this AI? Something in which, and this is the thing, like, we're seeing AI now, but AI has been, the military has been using AI for 10 plus years. We're just now seeing the head of AI, and we don't even know the capabilities that it actually has at this point. So to completely unregulate it, I think, is a disaster waiting to happen, and I think it's a bit um, uh, nefarious. Tara loves that word. I think it's a bit nefarious
Love
to
it.
put in a bill like that, and I don't know why it would be put in there. And it was obviously put in there very intentionally. So
Yeah. Well, good good points. I mean, he certainly has the CEO here. Has a lot of connections within the tech industry. Peter Thiel being one of the main ones, and you've seen a lot of Peter under the Trump administration. I think JD Vance's vice president consideration, I think, was heavily influenced by Peter Thiel, as is a lot of things in Silicon Valley with his founders fund. And so he was one of the co-founders of Palantir as well. Tara, does Palantir concern you, or is it the greater kind of AI in our daily lives and the data and the things that it could do in the future more concerning?
I mean, are we not being like surveyed and watched and stalked already? Like what is
Well, yeah,
changing?
yes, but now it's being compiled and
Yeah.
it is being centralized. Even more so, like, I mean, this goes back to the Snowden files, right? I mean, this is everything he talked about on a this is everything he talked about on a more extreme level, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess I'm just not like surprised. I feel like the government sees and knows everything that we do anyways. You guys honestly should have Jeremy come and do a little chat one time because he essentially, if you hear him like break down God, he thinks like God is the ultimate like server. And so he knows everything about you, like you're connected to him. Like it's crazy the way he explains it, but it's essentially this because he knows your motive before you do it. He knows, everything that you're thinking, everything that you're doing, and it's all just connected to like one great server, I guess.
Does he like the Matrix?
I don't know if he's ever seen it actually, but like him
The
and
meaning
Kurt,
behind the Matrix is
yeah.
exactly that the Matrix is actually more of a godly view than
That's
just
kind of
about these machines.
his belief. So like I'm just by no means surprised that we just keep advancing in technology and finding new ways to like infiltrate every part of our existence and know everything. I mean, like we've always said like the phone is listening to you. It shows you everything, if you talk about it in a conversation, you're going to see 50 ads about it on your phone. Um and things that get tagged as fraud. Like look at on social media, things that get tagged as spam, things that get tagged as harmful, um, immediately get taken down. If you're active on social media, you know this. Like if I get a comment that they deem, and sometimes they're not even like a mean comment, but for whatever reason, TikTok or Instagram reads it as being a negative comment, they will take it down and then send me a message that they deemed it harmful to my mental state.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just feel like we're already in that going in that direction. So it's not surprising to me. I mean, I don't love that like it can be monitored by the government and perhaps we could suffer repercussions for it. We should have some sense of privacy, but I mean, our little computers that we're all on, we all have an agent probably sitting behind there watching us right now.
Kel, so
I don't know about that.
on my view of this AI race, Palantir, throw it all in the same bucket. We've been told that the United States needs to win the AI race, right? Or else um, there will be another country, and the most likely being China, that will. And if we don't have those capabilities, we won't be able to at least combat their AI. And so, what's your perspective on that? Take a company like Palantir, Kurt saying really nefarious, maybe big bad company. It could be, but they're advancing this AI technology that may be the lesser of two evils at the end of the day when we're talking about which global power is going to win the AI race. How do you view that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Kurt's entirely correct is that, the reality is that man corrupts everything. So we can take what is well-intentioned and understand that, unfortunately, and that's just going to happen, is that everything eventually becomes corrupted just because we are fallen beings, and we just muck it up. I think so. What I'd like to see with AI, my big concern in this is, I think, in the OBBB right now, is there's some language here about this, like non like 10 years on the non I'm losing the word. We can't legislate.
Non-regulation. Yeah,
Yeah, we
can't
can't
legislate.
legislate around or regulate AI, right? And the states can't. And
Mhm.
I get that, but I think that if we can allow AI to remain, as I believe, in everything should be as much as possible in a free market, and allow the free market to determine how to make technologies improve, how to use things in better and more innovative ways, and then with transparency allow the public, the consuming public, to take part in what they determine, understanding what their own risks and benefits could be. That is obviously the most idealistic way to allow AI to advance. And because I think and believe always that the private sector will always outpace anything that the public sector does, because that's where the innovation, the technology, and the profit motive is.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the Palantir conspiracy thing, and I mean, I could put a little bit of a wet towel on some of that, Kurt, with like the name, and I know it's eerie and all that, but like, look, these guys are all nerds. I mean, I've never even seen Lord of the Rings. Like, they're just a bunch of Lord of the Rings nerds. They thought the name was cool. It's like you could
Agreed.
also disregard that as not being eerie and just being like a bunch of nerdy guys came up with a name that's cool, and that's also an option. And I guess I think they're going to be taking part in some more government contracts, but I mean, there's a lot of other big players in the government contract space, and Palantir like just broke into the top 10. So they're in no way the largest player, out there right now. So, is it like the end of the world about Palantir? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I'm interested. I mean, that was interesting to hear from you. I kind of didn't understand, like, I mean, I think the surveillance state is bad. But we're also participating in it, all of us, every day. Like Tara said, I mean, we're doing it. We would
And I
have
mean,
to
as soon
say
as you
no to
leave
it.
your house, there's cameras everywhere you go. Like, I mean, um, what do they call it? See, oh gosh, I can't think of it.
1984, was written before we had these in our hand.
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
took their surveillance with us, so they didn't even see it. They're like, oh, they'll actually take it with them everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and I get that point, and it's really, my argument isn't even about Palantir as a single company. I do think it's one of the fact that the founder is such a big part of the Trump administration. He was the biggest donor of JD Vance. I question when things like that, there's no such thing as coincidence, only the illusion of coincidence. So when things start to stack up like that, it makes my antennas stand up, and I'm thinking, okay, like, who is this Peter Thiel guy? Why did he have such a big play in JD Vance? How did JD Vance, a Republican, get a book deal and then a Netflix deal so quickly? Right, those are things that don't really happen in the Republican. Those are things that are pushed by the Democrat powers. Like, any time somebody gets this rise to fame, it's usually backed or inflated. It's usually not organic. So there's just a lot of things tied to Palantir that make my antennas stand up. But to your point, it's not just one AI company. I think it's the greater surveillance state that is worrisome for me. And it's because of things like the Patriot Act that we signed into law directly after 9/11, which we all have our questions about 9/11. And then you look at the result, you have a cause and effect. Well, we had the cause, and then the effect is now we have this even greater security state, which has made all of our lives worse. And so what is going to happen with this integration? What is going to happen with AI being a part of our everyday lives, surveilled, creating files on us, recognizing patterns on us. I mean, are we heading towards this? What is um, the social credit? Like, are we heading towards this social credit score that people warned about years ago? Is that where this is going? And what will that have? What effect will that have on our lives? And I don't think it'll be good. And it's a bit, I heard someone say best, it's a bit Machiavellian, where it's, did the ends justify the means, right? And I don't know if they do. Sure, should we be surveilling terrorists and should we be building profiles on them? Sure, but why should we be doing it our own citizens? I mean, are our own citizens a threat to our republic? I don't know. And when the government starts to think that they are, well, I think we have a big problem.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack with this because it's, a lot of it is on the kind of beginning side, the compute power to be able to carry out some of this operation. I do think, Kurt, some of what was in the big, beautiful bill around states not being able to regulate AI in some part had to do with states denying things like data center development and building, which you're starting to see now across the country. And from a federal perspective, if you're going to win the AI race, we need an exorbitant amount of power in order to do that. And if states aren't allowing power plants to be built or certain types of power plants to be built, then you can't win the AI race. You have to have
But
compute
shouldn't
power.
that be the state's choices?
Yeah,
I
I'm not
mean,
I'm not
okay.
talking about states' rights versus federal. I'm bringing in that aspect of what that language could have also meant to accomplish, because I'm seeing it in the energy industry today, where states are denying permits for new data center development, and that data center is AI. I mean, they go hand in hand. That's what these data centers are. They're serving mainly this new AI. We're calling it AI. It's a data
Compute.
center.
Mm-hmm.
It's compute power is really what you're talking about. Um, and so that could have been part of that, Kurt. I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
do know some people weren't happy about it in the House because Republicans who voted for it didn't read it and didn't know that that was in the bill. And then after the bill passed and a bunch of people came to them and said, why would you vote for this? They were like, well, we're not going to support that if it comes back to us from the Senate with that language in it. But the dynamics are that the House may not have a final say so on this big, beautiful bill. So it's really up to the Senate as to whether that language is going to stay in there or not. And we may find out within the next week or so.
So
But yeah, I
Brett,
mean, I think it's an interesting kind of notion. There's a lot of things that AI can do to benefit our lives. I think what concerns people and probably all of us about AI is that we're concerned about humans ourselves. Like we know, right? And so we know inherently, while some may see humans are good, um, we're also very faulty people.
hmm,
And someone who's writing a line of code that's getting used across all algorithms that may not be good because that's one person doing one bad thing could have large effects on our economy. And at what point will we catch it?
yeah.
Right? At what point will the average person stand up to say we're not for that anymore? And how do you unravel it when AI is now driving so much of the
Mm-hmm.
economy?
And so, Brett, since you know so much about the government and the law and all, how, because it is still, I guess, within the private sector, how do you govern AI? Like, for one example, that you can use AI to alter images. So you can take an image of me, of Kelly, of you, and
Mm-hmm.
strip off all of your clothing and make it look as though it is you
Yeah.
naked and
Nobody would do
post
that to
that
Kurt though, because he would just do it himself.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, they
out there on the internet. We don't need to use AI.
Well, they're
Right.
passing
I mean,
laws, Tara.
yeah,
So
I know that that has happened. There was a big court case about that, but the fact that that technology exists, I mean, that
Mhm.
is kind of scary that you can use that for anything. I mean, we are grown adults, and so yes, it would obviously be damaging for us, but think about doing that to a child. Think about doing
Mhm.
that to, you know, an
Yeah.
adolescent, a toddler.
Hmm.
I mean, that's incredibly terrifying. And same thing as you can alter documents. I mean, you can make anything look real.
Yeah.
I just was playing around with just some of Kelly and I's images from London, and I was trying to compilate a video. Well, something that I thought I took a video of, I only took a photo of, and I don't love a photo in a video. So I put it into this one program and it turned my picture into a video, added movement, moved my face, makes it look like it is me, but it's not me because it's a still image, not even a live photo. It is a still capture image, and it can turn it into like, that is wild that I have the capability to do that on my phone in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, so the most recent action I think on this was the take it. It was known as the Take It Down Act. President signed into law in May and attempted to address some of those things, Tara. And so I think what you see really throughout history as private sector continues to innovate, Congress is attempting to form some type of regulation. And this is where it
Yeah.
gets interesting, right? When you start talking about like the federal government, and states' rights. And so you look at things like the Take It Down Act, you say, well, is that the role of the federal government to do that? Or should the individual states be regulating that? And how do individual states regulate online content on a global app interface like a Facebook,
Right.
Instagram, or whatever? I mean, you can get it anywhere on the internet. And so there is a role for government. You all have heard me argue for this before. In certain sectors of our economy, I do think it's important that the federal government have a role in quote unquote regulation, even if that word isn't popular. Um, and so I think it does apply to AI. What you'll likely see is more and more laws to regulate AI, um, and not really just one company, but just broader concepts or things that pop up, the things that the compute power and the algorithms are going to be able to produce, of people, of their likeness, and then you're going to see laws or court cases follow, and a long history of case
Mhm.
law being built off of this. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know where it goes, but I think this is a position where when you look at, we elect all these people to Congress, what do they do all the time? They seem like they pass a lot of stuff that doesn't help us as an average human citizen. But then something like this seems like it is good. It seems like it
Right.
is something that everybody can appreciate, um, or certainly will if it happens to somebody you know.
Yeah,
What
and I mean, to Kurt's point, people are, can be very evil. So to be able to harness that power for good is amazing, but it's very easy to harness it for
well,
bad,
who
and there's so
it's
many
who
ways to use it.
it's who's going to control it. Okay,
Right.
so it's well intentioned at first, but then it gets the puck gets passed, and then who controls it next, and then
Mhm.
what are their intentions, and that kind of, Brett, my question would be, what is the AI race and why is it so critical that we must win it? I mean, is this like a Cold War era of the space race and we have to fake a moon landing to win it? You know, I mean, like what is the motivation to win it? Is this a military tactic? Is this a status? Is this what is the, like, what is the end goal? Why must it be won? And why is it
Yeah.
so important to our everyday lives? Because I question too, like, is AI making people more intelligent or dumber? You know,
Dumber. 100%.
you know. I mean, look at the like schools these days. You got professors using AI to write a curriculum, and then you're having students use AI to answer their curriculum. It's like,
Yeah.
where are we going with this?
So, I mean, I view it like this, Kurt, on that question in particular, because I'm not an expert in AI whatsoever. But I think we all understand the simple concept of a hacker, right? And so their ability and skills in order to hack a network or get into your private files. And so what we do to combat that, and what we've done for the last 2 decades to combat that, is we're installing, antivirus software and some more sophisticated piece of technology to combat the hacking that is maybe less sophisticated, right?
Mhm.
And so I think when the AI race from a national security perspective is really about that, is that we have to have the tools, the AI technology that is smarter, better, faster than anyone else in order to combat their technology. So if they win the AI race from a national security perspective, what does that mean? Can they tap into our um, military databases? Can they control certain aspects about our private information that the federal government holds? And if we don't have the compute power to stop that, if we don't have the antivirus software on the other end that's smarter than what they've come up with, which is going to be a lot about compute power and training the models, and really just where does the private sector go? So if we don't harness a robust private sector of AI in the United States, these companies will go elsewhere to other countries to develop that software, because there is a market for it. And so that's how I look at it from a national security perspective. Now, you start venturing outside of that realm of whether that is going to benefit us as constituents, or not. I don't know if I have a lot of opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kurt then this maybe goes back to a little bit of a thought about what you said, Kurt, and then where you were talking, Brett. I mean, Kurt's right. We should be concerned. And when I hear Brett talking about how, Congress is making some of these laws and maybe even they should be the people to do it, the reality is the vast majority of people in Congress and definitely the Senate uh, have no idea what AI is. I would argue
Yeah,
they maybe have never even used it. And so the question is who's actually behind
that's true.
it really could be one or two people writing the language that's ending up there and then just, one of these Congress members
Yes.
sticking it in there. Because honestly,
Yes.
those people, I mean, we've said that before. I mean, they're not our brightest and best, and they're definitely not using AI. They don't have a clue. They don't have a
Yeah.
clue about any of this stuff because most of them are so removed from any level of anything. Uh,
That's accurate.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know how that is entirely Palantir, Kurt, but I think that that's certainly where there's definitely people behind the scenes pulling strings, and I think we're right to
Mhm.
question. I think we should. Who's doing
Yeah.
it? And
And
what's
so
their intention?
I guess Brett's point is it's better to dance with the devil you know than the devil you don't. Because like if it's our government using it, at least we know it's our government and not somebody else's. But I
Mm-hmm.
guess we don't even know, like you said, Kelly, we don't even know that devil. Like nobody fully understands the capabilities of this technology, not even our lawmakers.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I
Well, I
know
think,
I consider myself very layman on it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know a lot. I know enough to know I don't like it.
Well, we don't want to be. I think the concern, Kelly, for politicians maybe don't understand the AI race. I think they understand simple concepts, as does the average person. Um, and I think in layman's terms, it's like, well, does the United States want to be Blockbuster? Do we
Mm-hmm.
want to get technologically leaped from another country that then becomes the economic and military superpower of the world because we failed to innovate or recognize the benefits of that innovation? And there's no doubt that the innovation will come with many benefits, but it will, to your point, Kurt, it will also come with a lot of concerns, from a human rights and privacy perspective. And I think that is where it gets back to Congress and state legislatures of really paying attention to this and trying to stay ahead of what I think their true role should be in their charter is like you're looking after your constituents, you're protecting your people. And so to the extent this technology exists, it should not be used in any negative way towards US citizens. And that's where this deep state conversation comes into, and everything else of how much of that already occurs that we don't know and we aren't aware of. And you can't say it's never happened, because it has happened in this country. And so if if it's happened and they've been caught, it's been occurring more recently
and
as well.
Yeah, and it's happened. I mean, we're talking about, what was Snowden? Close to 20 years ago now?
Yeah, he's still controversial. It's still
20 years
controversial.
ago?
I don't know if it was 20, but it's been a little while.
It's been a long time. We look that up. And Assange, Julian Assange. I mean, you had these people talking about not necessarily even AI, just the security state in general.
The abuse of the security state. Yeah.
What's the movie? Is it Snowden with he's the young kid that he was on like Third Rock from the Sun. And he's like can pull up anybody's laptop at any given time. Is that Snowden?
Maybe. It's 2013, Kurt.
2013.
So it's only 12 years.
Okay. Seems like forever ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time.
I suspect that we're going to continue to talk about AI. And maybe the next time we talk about it, we talk about maybe the good things that we're experiencing even today with some of the new apps and new technology and the new ways that we're working. I love using ChatGPT. It seemingly is just getting like better and better with every new update. I don't even have the paid version of ChatGPT, and the compute power that is being put into the free version, and how quickly I'm getting answers and how quickly I'm having dialogues with it. It's pretty impressive. And there's also going to be some winners and losers in this race from some well-known names that are already out there today in the stock market. So maybe we'll bring that up in another pod. But
I like that. Yeah, because I use it a lot too.
Yeah, I do. I use it every day.
So for today, be cautious, people, and know what it is that you're allowing when you say yes to the long list of things that you don't want to read when you download an app. Maybe read it next time and see what it is that you're handing over.
I mean, I strongly suggest always turning off the option to not track you, but
the government is always watching.
But I feel like they can see you anyways. But it's the same thing with like turning your location off. Like when you post, you need to have your location off. Never don't just like willy-nilly give out information to the public. You never know who's.
I think that's more of a concern for women, but yes.
Yeah. Well, Kelly and I have talked about this. It's like doing a tax return. It's like if you they want you to do the tax return, you submit it. If it's wrong, the federal government's like, actually, you did it wrong. You owe us this. And you're like, so why didn't you just tell me that in the first place?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you know how much I owe, just tell me how much I owe. Like, why is it? Like, why do I got to see your
If you already know. And it's not like you can really go through some long discussion with them. So it's like, you already know what I owe. Just send me the bill. And either I'm going to be delinquent or I'm not, so.
Or maybe related. Like, is there like an IRS scam going on right now? Because we got like a back tax bill from a year that we paid a hefty amount of taxes, and they're saying that we didn't pay enough.
There are lots of scams from the IRS. Public service announcement: the IRS will never call you.
No, we received a letter.
If you get a letter, create an IRS transcript account and log in to see if it's valid or if it's from a potential scammer. There is unfortunately a lot of scammy letters that look very legit. So yes, create your irs.gov transcript account.
Okay. On that note, we're going to move on to a more lighthearted topic and one that fuels our day. So we're going to talk about your cup of coffee here as we close out the podcast today. So coffee has sparked revolutions, fueled empires, and built billion brands. It was banned by kings, worshipped by monks. Maybe Kurt can tell us a little bit about that. And turned cafes into the nerve centers of culture, from Enlightenment Europe to 1960s counterculture to your neighborhood Starbucks. Today, coffee is the second most traded commodity on earth
Wow.
after oil. It's $100 billion industry that fuels our mornings, powers our meetings, and shapes the rhythms of our lives. Um, Look, I love coffee. Shannon and I, every morning, we do a kid drop off. We will both get our Starbucks coffee. Starbucks, you're happy to sponsor this podcast.
Seriously.
We spend a lot with you every single day.
Gold Star member since like 2006.
Yeah. And your rewards are really not that great. They're not as
They're
good
not.
as some other rewards
No.
out there. So I'm just throwing that out there, Starbucks. You could step up the game on the rewards. I know you have a new CEO now. In the United States is the largest importer of coffee. Germany is second. The import value is $9 billion worth of coffee in 2024. The largest exporter, as I think isn't surprising, is Brazil. 22% comes from Brazil. So, Tara, tell us about coffee. What do you drink? How do you like it? And from a cultural standpoint, like, why do you think Americans love coffee? Like, why is it that we're the largest importer? Because Americans, well, we have a lot of people, but we love a lot of coffee. Why is
Yeah.
that, do you think?
I mean, it's just like a great drink to meet over, you know? I mean, so many, think of how many, unless you're having dinner, if you're meeting during the day, it's almost always at a coffee shop, right? Or a cafe. I just think it's like it brings people together. I love coffee. And have dad, I mean, obviously introduced me to coffee. I can't speak for the rest of you, but dad was always still a heavy coffee drinker. So he introduced me to Starbucks very young when I got my braces on, and he would take me to get frappuccinos every time I had my orthodontist appointment. So probably like, what was that, 13, 14 years old, started my obsession with coffee. Now, I obviously don't drink frappuccinos anymore. I like a hot mocha latte if I'm going out. I love my Starbucks, but I made an agreement that I would not spend as much money at Starbucks this year. So I have been very good, and I have been making my coffee at home. So I make an iced mocha, and I like Stoke, and they can feel free to sponsor as well, because I buy like 4 jugs a week of that Stoke cold brew coffee. It's really good. And with my almond milk and a little mocha drizzle, that's my everyday go-to. I don't understand people that do not drink coffee. Like Jeremy doesn't drink coffee, and it's one of our biggest arguments because like when we travel, you know, we're on the road all the time. And it is very important to me that we stop for coffee regularly. And he does not understand like that's always an argument when we're driving. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I'm gonna find a coffee shop. I'm gonna find a Starbucks. I'm gonna find a Dunkin'. It can be a drive-through, but it is of utmost importance that I have coffee before 8 a.m. every morning, or I will physically die. It doesn't have that urgency anymore. So, um, generally speaking, I don't know that I can fully understand anybody who does not drink coffee. I think that it is like fuel for life. You need it. It just starts my day off on a high note. And typically, and I know Kelly's the same, like I can drink coffee all throughout the day. I can have a cup of coffee at 8 p.m. and I'm still gonna sleep straight through the night. It doesn't phase me in that way. So I don't even know that it's like giving me the caffeine boost anymore as much as it's just part of my routine and like gives me joy. I just need my coffee.
Well, you certainly great personality, Tara. So I see where let's see
No,
maybe what it's
coffee.
like without a cup of coffee for a day.
Let's never do that. Never, ever.
Kurt, what's your coffee obsession?
Oh, well, I clearly like coffee so much that I am a part owner of a coffee shop, 88's Coffee and Cocktails for anybody listening. And
Shout out.
shout out to Pure Intentions Coffee, who provides us our beans and we lease our espresso machine off of. Yeah, I don't know. Coffee's I'd probably have 3 or 4
So you
coffee
love coffee
lattes.
so much that you own a coffee shop.
That
And he
yes,
lives
So,
above one as well.
so Kurt trumps everyone in this conversation. He's gone really full coffee.
full coffee. I think coffee is just one of those things that brings people together, and it's got its own culture of its own, right?
Yeah.
It is also the most feminine thing about me is how I order my coffee.
Mm.
And I just sent a reel to the group chat. Maybe we can put it in at the end. It's hilarious because it's similar to what I do. So I get a vanilla latte, but when I order it, depending if I'm at a new coffee shop and they don't already know my order, which typically they do, I don't even have to say it out loud anymore. But I'll say, yeah, can I get a latte? And then after I'll say, and just a little bit of vanilla instead of having to say vanilla latte. It just seems more masculine. I don't know.
Oh my God.
That's
Listen,
good.
I think your coffee
but
does say a lot about you, though. I think.
I do love a vanilla latte. Something about it, but not too much. I prefer it if it is not like one of the pump vanillas. That's why I really stay away from Starbucks. I think Starbucks is way too sweet. I don't even really like their coffee beans that much.
Mm-mm.
But a good vanilla latte, man. If I still
Mm.
smoke cigarettes, that combined with a cigarette is just
Heaven.
the best morning.
Oh my God.
Are you still not smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, that's right.
Congratulations. Very good.
Allie
I'm
brought
proud
me
of
in
you.
a zen here
Yeah, he
mid
switched over to the can.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Kel, tell us.
these Swedish ones too, they come in 11 milligram, by the way, if you get the Swedish zins. So.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know that.
Kellis, tell us about the coffee obsession you have. You and I have had many conversations about the Breville machines we have. I know you now maybe have multiple and the newer versions. Tell us about your coffee obsession in the home and at work.
Yeah, I'm a self-described coffee snob. So we renovated our kitchen to, some people build in drink bars. We built in a coffee bar because I love coffee so much. And we are very localized, of course, small business. We order our beans fresh every month from a local roastery, Hallowed Grounds. We've ordered from them for probably 15 years. And we get whole beans. We ground. Every pot of coffee is fresh ground at the time of brew. We drink a ton of coffee. And then I just did the same thing in my office when we renovated it and I built in a coffee bar. Same thing because I love coffee so much and I love good coffee. And we are well known. Everybody always says when they come that you will always have the best cup of coffee at my house. So
Yeah.
I am, of course, a no sweetness kind of girl. So I drink black coffee pretty much and absolutely every single morning. I left this morning when I left my house at 4:00. I took a cup of coffee, of fresh brewed coffee with me. So I drink black coffee pretty much all day. Same thing. I could drink it. We have it with dinner. We have a fresh pot every night with dinner. I drink coffee all day long. I do like a latte. And if I drink a latte, usually maybe one a day, it's like our afternoon thing. My husband and I will make a latte either at home or at the office and sit down and have our little time together. And I drink a whole milk latte. And controversial opinion, I drink a hot latte 365 days a year. I never drink iced, even if it's 100 degrees outside. I always drink a hot latte.
Yeah.
Same if
Yeah.
I'm ordering. If I'm making it at home, I want it hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Kurt, from the $100 billion industry, $9 billion worth of imported value of coffee in the US, your experience from the coffee shop side, are the margins just that good as well? Like business has to flourish. Obviously there's a demand component here. US seemingly has the highest demand. And so, we have Starbucks's, but we also have a lot of local coffees like what you have. How do you compete against the Starbucks? what is the difference? Do you see Starbucks just continuing to maintain its primacy, or will there be a resurgence of kind of small coffee shops, more local?
Yeah, the margins aren't great. It's an economy of scale, and I think that is where the players like Starbucks specialize in, and that is why when they come into a city, they are able to get themselves prime real estate
Hmm.
because it is Starbucks is one of those conveniences.
Right.
Your local coffee shop, you're going to get better coffee, but typically you're not a grab and go. You're going there to sit down and work or socialize or whatnot. Just because the smaller coffee shops aren't typically, not in Charlotte at least, aren't as well located as your Starbucks and aren't as well integrated, say, with your apps and with your convenience as Starbucks. Now, I do see a takeover in Charlotte. People are a bit more snooty about their coffee here, and people will go out of their way to go to your local coffee shop over a Starbucks. But that's not stopping Starbucks expansion. I mean, there are two Starbucks
Yeah.
within a quarter mile of
Hmm.
my building. I have one below me, and I have one a block up. So it's crazy. And one of them is just one of the Starbucks. You can't even go in and order. It is just an app based
Hmm.
Starbucks.
That's
So
like a trend now. Like
Yeah,
the
it's a new
drive-through
thing.
onlys, they don't even let you
mhm.
in.
So they are absolutely crushing it in that way. But I have heard lately we do have some Western coffee shops that are trying to take hold in those little drive-through coffee shops. They're trying to take hold in Charlotte, in the southeastern area. So I don't know. I think that's it's very competitive. The margins aren't great. Ours is we positioned ourselves well, me and my partners, for the future. We have our coffee shop in an up and coming area. Right now, we're not making any money on coffee. Thank goodness we have the Jazz Lounge at night because that's where we make all of our money on is alcohol and music at this point. But we're positioned well that we will be your local coffee shop here in about a year and a half, 2 years as the area gets developed around us. We've got 1,000 doors being built right now under construction, all within a stone's throw of our coffee shop. So it's one of those positioning
Yeah.
things. You've got to be
Yeah.
positioned well in the market. There is a lot of competition, but I do find that people are somewhat loyal to their coffee shops.
I think the coffee shop has become like our what the boomer generation's bar was. Like it becomes a family. If you have a local coffee shop, like they know you when you come in, they know your order. It's a sense of community. If you sit down and work there every day, that's how like these small like Charleston has so many coffee shops. Um, but like that's how you feel when you go in there. It's like a sense of you're a
Yeah, like
family
the
to
local
them.
pub.
Yeah.
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 And that is what Starbucks can never give you, but unfortunately for these smaller coffee shops, Starbucks is it is like Kurt said it is the convenience of it. Like if you're traveling, like well, we live in a small town, so we do have one small coffee shop that has opened now, and that has been a blessing to the community. But generally speaking, our Starbucks is right there off of the exit. And
Hmm.
so you just whip on through. You can pre-order it on the app if you don't have time. You can have it delivered from Grubhub, DoorDash, whatever. Like it's the convenience factor, and that's what keeps Starbucks thriving. It's not because their coffee is the best, because I think that we can all agree the beans are a little sour. It's not my favorite cup of coffee, but in a pinch, it's going to do because I know it's going to be quick. I know they're going to get my order right, and I know I'm going to be in and out in a quicker amount of
Yeah.
time than tracking down a local coffee shop if I'm especially out of town, which typically during the week I am. So, I think it's unfortunate, but my preference is always going to be like 88. I prefer, I think we all do, a small coffee shop.
hmm
Can I just add, Brett, as you mentioned, that this is okay, coffee, like I'm going to unpack another pet peeve, is
Hmm.
that coffee is in the US, there is a coffee shop absolutely everywhere.
Everywhere.
And has anybody walked into a coffee shop and stood behind a person that acts as if they're in a coffee shop for the first time in their life?
Never.
And they're like, "Oh my gosh, what do you have?
Oh my
What's
God.
good
It is
here?
it is such an help to me. I can't
Oh
stand
my
it.
gosh. I'm like, hi, walk into the store, order your order, pay for it, hopefully with a click on your phone, or whip out a $5 bill and walk away. This
Yeah.
is not rocket science. This is coffee. It is everywhere. How do you not
Not
know
know.
what's at
Yeah.
the store?
Everyone has a vanilla latte.
Everybody
Everyone
has a vanilla latte. Everybody has a latte. Do you have whole milk? I'll take it with whole milk. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Pick something and order
it's-
it.
it speaks volumes about people who cannot order at a coffee shop
Like
and they
want a
stand
menu.
there.
They want to sit down, take a minute
Yeah.
to scan. I'm like,
You
that's
should
the
observe
bottom
those
line.
people and be like, they should never be in charge of anything because
No,
you've never
indecision.
run anything. You
Yeah,
have no ability
indecision.
to make
I'm
a decision
sure-
for a
I'm
cup of
sure-
coffee.
I'm
Well,
sure
that's-
Brett's oldest. I know that mine, they can go into Starbucks and order a drink for themselves. Like, are we
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just those are just those are character flaws or traits
Yeah.
of people. I mean, I think the same is said just any drive-through line.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And you're going through and it's
Discuss
at
this in
Chick-fil-A and
world.
we've talked about this.
Yeah,
It's like
first
Chick-fil-A
world
has like
problem.
5 things on the menu and people get up there and they're like, I don't know what I want. It's like it's a chicken sandwich or chicken nuggets. Like it really is not like, do you want the combo or not? And
You can have a
I
drink
mean,
with
really,
that.
like,
I mean, a
the
dip.
decisions here, the decisions here are pretty simple. I do think on the coffee shop side, what's interesting to me, I'm a consumer of coffee, and even in our own town, and we're very foodie coffee town. I couldn't really tell you where all the coffee shops are, and if there are some, they're not necessarily convenient to get to as far as like parking and stuff goes.
Mhm.
And so you end up doing the Starbucks because they are really good at real estate, and we know this about chains in general.
Yeah.
That they're really good at real estate, and they will pay, I guess, a decent premium for said real estate. But then last episode we were talking about Judy's Pancakes and, chicks selling pancakes. And I'm like, well, that's kind of what like the local coffee shops really need to be better at, is letting people know that they're there and that you have to build the brand and the culture around that
Mhm.
coffee shop in order for me to change my habit of going to the Starbucks. If you can just get me in the door at this other place, which I'm definitely willing to go to, if I know where it is, if I know that I can park,
Yeah.
those kinds of things, I think are limitations to the small coffee shop. Because I really wish there would be more of them, and I wish somebody gave more of a run to Starbucks. I mean, I'm in my Starbucks today, and I will not take my child into the bathroom. The Starbuckses of what we remember when they first really came into the market are not what you see today unless it's a brand new Starbucks. They're getting run down. They're starting to look like McDonald's on the inside.
Mhm.
The furniture is all beat up. The floor is sticky. They may or may not give you a sleeve anymore. They start writing stuff on your cup, but like I don't want people touching my cup that much either in the first place. So I think it's lost some of that small time coffee shop feel that Starbucks used to have.
Right.
And then with the volume of people that come in and out of there, it's kind of like a circus, and the facilities are not in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
Where a local owner of a coffee shop would pride themselves way more on keeping like a cleanly workplace.
Starbucks
Having,
is
like,
definitely not sponsoring us
Walmart.
now, Brett.
No, probably
Yeah,
not.
they're not
That's
gonna
okay.
sponsor us, yeah.
Do you think
Or
like
we'll be advisors.
Dad goes like 20 minutes out of his way for his favorite coffee shop?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they got him, and it's because he swears it's the best cup of coffee. And if you go and stay with Dad, he's like, I'm gonna go drive and I'm gonna go buy you this coffee because that's his favorite coffee shop. Not that he doesn't go to
Yeah.
Starbucks, I'm sure he does. Mom likes Starbucks, but I mean, if you can definitely build a loyal following, but it's harder. It's absolutely harder because you're just not in front of the eyes that Starbucks is. And Starbucks is becoming like a status thing to hold that cup. People just want to walk in with that Starbucks cup. Where me, I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, let me pour that into my other. Let me pour that.
Yeah.
Tumbler.
Mm.
But
Well,
Another point that we maybe can get back to on another pod, Kelly, because I do always say how you take your coffee says a lot about you. And whether or not you know how to order it, like people that don't put their carts back says a lot about you, or do or don't put their carts back says a lot about you. But my number one thing that I think is the greatest test of a relationship, whether it be friendship, romantic, however, whatever it may be, is to take them to the airport. Because you will learn everything that you need to know about a person from one experience with them at the airport.
Well, let's save that for the next podcast. I'm
That
interested
next
in
pod,
Kelly's
but
opinion on her experience taking Tara to the airport. That one.
what was wrong with me at the airport?
The
I'm
duffel
not sure there
bag.
was anything wrong. I'm
Oh, the
sure
duffel
it was
bag.
an
I know.
experience. And yeah, I think that's a great topic, Tara. Just don't be
Yeah.
surprised if you're part of that topic.
I like it.
The airport, I was leading the charge. I just usually carry on, and I did carry on my first half of the trip, but then once we got to New York, I checked my luggage and I had a tote bag that slides over the handle of my carry-on. And then I
Tara,
didn't
don't
have
be
that
so
bag
defensive.
anymore.
Usually the people that are the most offensive have the most to worry about. So we're gonna leave it there,
And then
and we're gonna talk.
it was an unfortunate choice of bag. It was.
I'll go watch that reel I just sent to the group chat, and I think you'll get a kick out of the that reel. And that goes back to your branding, Brett. This is probably like, I don't know where this coffee shop is in
you
the
sent
middle of
it in.
nowhere, but they put out a funny reel like this, and I guarantee people are gonna go
Go to the coffee shop.
Watch that.
Go to the coffee shop.
Go buy the stuff. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up, and I enjoyed the conversation. I'm glad we ended on coffee after we started in a pretty dark place of nuclear war to conspiracy corner with Kurt on Palantir, and your cup of coffee that I think everybody can relate to. So great. If we have suggestions for next week, let's throw them out there. For those listening in the comments, tell us what your favorite cup of coffee is and where you buy it. Maybe we'll do a poll, Tara, that we can put out on our Instagram or TikTok pages, kind of getting some data so that I can digest it and give it back out to the audience.
I like it.
And then if you support the bombing in Iran, I think is also a good one. I'd like to know where the
do you
general.
or don't you? Where do you stand?
Yeah, I mean the general sentiment now. We're enough days into it. People have an opinion of whether they support it or don't support it. So I think that would be an interesting poll as well. But until next week, guys, appreciate it. Have a good week, and I'm going to go finish the day off playing some golf.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right, love you.
Love you.
Bye.